Before we start, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more stories like this. The morning she decided to destroy everything started just like any other. The house was quiet, the smell of coffee filled the air, and sunlight slipped lazily through the blinds. But instead of greeting me with a smile or a kiss, my wife, Jenna, stood beside me holding a thick white envelope and a stare that could cut steel. "We need a wake-up call," she said coldly, tossing the papers onto the table like a villain in a movie. "You've gotten too comfortable. Maybe this will remind you what you could lose. Divorce papers. Real ones. Not a joke, not a warning. Official documents with her name signed neatly across the top." A smug grin crossed her face as she added, "Don't panic. I'm not actually leaving. It's just to remind you who you might lose if you don't start trying harder." She expected me to crumble, to beg, to panic, to apologize for whatever imaginary sins she had conjured up. But instead, something in me shifted. It wasn't fear. It was clarity. I just stared at her, silent. She wanted drama, a performance, me pleading for forgiveness, proving my love like a contestant on some twisted reality show. She wanted to feel irreplaceable. Meanwhile, I'd spent years working overtime, chasing promotions, saving for our future, and building the life she flaunted online as if she'd earned it all herself. But somehow it was never enough. She always needed more attention, validation, control. "Don't you have anything to say?" she snapped when I didn't react the way she expected. I quietly opened the envelope and flipped through the pages. My pulse slowed. My mind cleared. For the first time, I saw our marriage for what it was. Not a partnership, but a stage where she demanded applause more than affection. "You wanted my attention," I said evenly. "Now you have it." Then I picked up a pen. Her smirk faded as I signed my name. Slowly, deliberately, without a hint of hesitation. The sound of the pen scraping paper filled the silence like thunder. Her eyes widened. "What are you doing?" she whispered, her confidence cracking. "You think I'm going to play games with my marriage?" I replied, handing the papers back. "If love to you means control and threats, then what we had wasn't a marriage." Her composure broke. This wasn't how she'd imagined it. In her script, I was supposed to chase her, to beg, to fight for her. But I didn't. I chose peace. I chose self-respect. And that realization hit her like a wave of cold water. "Wait, you actually signed it," she stammered. "It wasn't supposed to go like this." She reached for me, but I stepped back. The moment she used divorce as a weapon, something sacred between us died. "If you wanted to talk, you should have talked," I said. "But you didn't want communication, you wanted control." Tears filled her eyes, and for once, she looked unsure instead of superior. The house felt empty, like a battlefield after the smoke clears. "I just wanted you to try harder," she whispered. I shrugged. "If you have to threaten to lose me to feel valued, then you never valued me to begin with." She dropped into a chair, face in her hands. "I didn't think you'd actually sign. I thought you'd fight." I sat across from her, calm but heavy-hearted. "Love shouldn't be proven through fear," I said quietly. "I gave you everything I could. If that wasn't enough, nothing ever would be." The truth settled between us like a weight. I didn't need to shout. It was my silence that cut the deepest. "Can we fix this, please?" she asked, voice trembling, stripped of arrogance. Now it was fear, fear of losing the man she thought would never walk away. My phone buzzed. A text from my lawyer friend. "Call me when you're ready. I'll file it." Her eyes widened. "You already contacted someone?" I met her gaze. Threats have consequences. Panic replaced her pride. She reached for my hand, desperate. "Don't do this." I didn't mean it. I was emotional. I shook my head. "No, you were calculated. And now you understand the cost." She followed me as I packed a bag. "Please, we can go to therapy." "I love you," she pleaded. I paused. Once those words would have melted me. Now they just sounded like chains made of roses. "You love control," I said. "You love being chased. But you never loved me enough to trust me or treat me like an equal." She shook her head frantically. "That's not true." I gently pried her hands off my arm. "Then your actions betrayed your heart." She collapsed onto the bed, sobbing as I zipped my bag shut. The sound hurt, but it was necessary. Not all pain is cruelty. Sometimes it's the price of freedom. "What will I tell people?" she choked out. And there it was, the truth behind her panic. Not fear of losing me, but of losing control, image, reputation. Tell them the truth, I said. Tell them you brought divorce papers into our home. And I respected your decision. As I reached the door, she stood there trembling. Please don't go, she whispered, voice barely holding together. I turned to her, the woman I once dreamed of forever with, and said softly, you can't threaten to burn the house down just to see if someone loves living in it. Her sobs broke through the silence as she clutched the signed papers like pieces of her shattered heart. I didn't yell. I didn't slam the door. I just walked away. And that silence said everything. A week later, she showed up at my apartment. No makeup, no pride, just raw regret. I ruined everything, she said. I didn't gloat. I didn't punish. I just nodded. Sometimes we don't realize who truly loves us until we push them too far, she whispered. And sometimes, I replied, we don't realize what peace feels like until we let go of the person who mistook love for power. She reached out but stopped halfway, as if realizing it was too late. I wasn't angry. I wasn't bitter. I was just done. When I closed the door, she stood frozen in the hallway, holding those papers like a gravestone. She tried to scare me into loving her. Instead, she taught me the power of walking away.